What up, my people? ¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Welcome. Bienvenidos to another episode, otro episodio de Hoy en Día TV. I'm your host and producer, Yesy Rodriguez, bringing on to the set and stage my amazing co-hosts. We have Dr. CC the Actionist and author entrepreneur Nadine Barton. Welcome, lovelies, to the stage. Hello, hello.
Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yes, happy terrific Thursday. So how are you all feeling? How's it going?
It's going great. It's amazing. I'm just blessed to be here to see another day, another Thursday, and especially with you, beautiful ladies.
Yes. Love you, love you, love you. Your hair is looking good, fierce. Okay, both of y'all. Okay. I was just kind of combing back in a little braid. Y'all looking good.
I'm going on set tomorrow, so I have to get it laid and slayed. Honey.
Yes, fried dyed laid to the side. Okay.
Well, Cece, you always look great regardless. Nadine, you do too. So I mean, hey, it's one of those things where God blessed us with, with the beauty and the brains. So we're good.
Yes, I like that. The beauty and the brains. I like that.
Beauty and brains.
Beauty and brains.
Beauty and brains, absolutely. I mean, because come on, that's my philosophy, I think. And I tell young ladies that I mentor to, I'm like, if you want to look good, that's great, but have something up here to offer, right? Because what happens as you age and you get older, your looks, depending on how well you're taking care of yourself, may fade. And then what? What are you going to have to rely on if you don't have
And don't be stuck in your head of, I know that kids could be mean in high school. People used to make fun of me, call me big lips, big head, all this stuff. And look at them now. People paying for them lips, honey. Hello.
Okay. Money.
That right there. Absolutely. No, you make sense. So in a nutshell, embrace your beauty. Everyone looks unique and different, but we're all beautiful in our own way. And that's okay. God made us unique, right? Yes,
absolutely. And I love that. Everybody tries so hard to look like everybody else. The world would be completely boring if we were able to achieve that. How boring would that be? So we really have to truly embrace all of our uniqueness. It's very important. And I know it's hard to kind of get people to embrace that, especially young teenagers and kids and stuff like that. Because, they're trying to find themselves, they're growing, they're wanting to be like their friends and all this and that. But it's very important for people to impress upon their children, you really, truly have to be yourself. Because when you're trying to be like everybody else, boring. And then too, some of the people are mean. I was just watching a movie. It's my husband's favorite movie called Mean Girls. Have you guys seen that? It's an older movie, Mean Girls. You seen that?
Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah. Yes, that one.
Yes. It's so funny you mentioned the name Mean Girls. I was listening to a podcast, and I think I told you about it yesterday. I don't know if you watched this podcast. I forgot the name of it, but the lady always come on, am I the A for, and the topic was the lady for not wanting to go to my brother's wedding because the person he's getting married to used to bully me in high school. And she was she was a mean girl to me. And now she's saying that, the brother is kind of not liking her right now because she's about to ruin her wedding by not showing up. I'm like, this girl used to torture her in high school. And then now she's doing all this mental. Yeah, of course, people do change, childhood, but she's traumatized. She don't want to face her. She don't want to go through that. The lady is definitely traumatized. You know what I mean? So would you have gone to the wedding? Would any of you guys have gone to the wedding if this girl tortured you through high school? And it's not just picking on you, but just doing stuff, just like the show Mean Girls, doing stuff and setting her up with a guy, and it's not true, just making fun of her. Would you have gone to the wedding?
Well, this is about to be her sister-in-law. This lady's about to be family now, which is crazy. And I'm not sure if the brother knew that this girl had bullied her. I'm not sure if he knew, did he just find out about it? Or did he know when they were kids? Or did she share at any point when they were dating, to be look, this is what happened to me. This is the person that traumatized me and bullied. Did they have that conversation? Because the healing, right, and forgiveness has to take place at some point. And who knows, that girl, that lady now, her soon-to-be sister-in-law might still be just as mean and may bully her. You know what I'm saying? It may still cause a lot of family dynamics and problems and stuff. So it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had. I believe that the sister should go to the brother's wedding because she's there. That's her brother, right? Whether or not she likes the wife to be, that's her brother. But I can definitely understand, right? If the trauma's too great, it's a trigger. It's going to put her more at a headspace and place to where, she feels threatened and all that stuff to her emotional well-being. Then the brother might have to take that into consideration and not hold that against his sister, because, those types of stressors that could cause her to have a heart attack or a stroke or anything, right?
PTSD.
So I think they got to talk about it.
PTSD, because here's the thing. She said she was very excited for the brother, and, he's always talking about this girl, and it didn't click on her. It didn't dawn on her until she starts seeing pictures of the girl, because most likely they weren't living together. They probably in another state, who knows? So she saw pictures, like when he started putting out pictures of her in like family chats and stuff. And then that's when, she started being traumatized all over again. And I mean, I wouldn't have gone to the wedding. I forgive, but I won't forget. But no.
So for me, I see both perspectives, right? And for me, it's one of those things where it's like, I agree. This happened a long time ago. People grow, right? And I guess a long time ago depends on everybody's determination of what a long time. 5 years may be a long time compared to 20 years for another person, right? Also, with that in mind, I would start with the brother being the middleman here, to say he should have thought to himself, okay, this is my soon-to-be wife. This is my sister. She's family. She's been there since we've been born, right? And so bringing both together to say, hey, I understand this is what happened this a long time ago. It looks like it's still causing trauma or discomfort to my sister, and giving the opportunity for both parties to communicate. And then also the person that caused the trauma to apologize if they sincerely mean it, of course, right? But if the brother still notices that even at that point, we're bringing both parties together to do a conflict resolution is not solving anything, then at that point, he really has to decide for himself, okay, I'm still going to obviously continue to marry this person because I love this person, but now that may cause the relationship that I have with my sister, possibly. However, thinking about that thoroughly too, I agree with Cece. This is family, and supporting your brother if this is the decision he decides, and what happens thereafter. If you respectfully as a person say, you know what, I respect that you married this person, because this person is still causing me trauma, I'll just choose to remove myself from that situation. That way you can continue to be happy, and I'm good on my end, right? So there's different ways to really approach this about the viewpoint, but I would have started definitely as the brother, saying, hey, let me bring my sister, let me bring my future wife together so we can resolve this conflict and see how we can move forward together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Because if the shoe was on the other foot, I would expect the same courtesy. Now, you got to think long-term down the road. These, this couple married, hopefully they'll be married forever, right? Because we want people to stay together, families to stay together. But think about like all the holiday events and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? That might kind of, so there may have to be, depending on how close she is with her brother, like, the wife may have to understand, like, hey, hun, this is just going to be me and my sister's time. Like, you're not invited. We know why, right? That kind of thing. And they're going to have to be okay with that. And then at family events, you're just going to have to be cordial, be adults, right? Because we tell kids all the time, like, mind your manners and be nice and that kind of thing. So it can be cordial, you can speak, but you can kind of stay away from each other. So there's not, a whole lot of family drama with everybody in it, just that kind of thing. I've been in situations like, you had to play nice, even though there were people there in the family. You're like, you're mad at them today, right? But you just had to play nice and get through that day, those few hours, and then move on smartly. And then, hopefully the next time, we're all friends again. But we definitely have to adult. And it's interesting that we're talking about this, because the adulting part, it's interesting, we do tell kids to say, I'm sorry, be nice, and all of these kinds of things. But we typically are bad at it ourselves as adults. I think that we're worse. We're worse. I don't even know the word now. Just behavioral types, people, specimens, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know the word now, but we perform at it worse than children. Like, we hold grudges. We don't use our words, and we clearly have words. We clearly can communicate. Now, whether the communication is great or not so great, but we can use our words. Think about a young child that's still learning and developing a vocabulary. They may not have all the words, but us, you know what I'm saying, in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, beyond, we have some language, we have some skill sets, and we don't utilize that very well. So people always talk about, you got to communicate. But is your communication, is it effective? And the biggest thing in communication truly is the two things that we have right here, our ears. We have two. So we have to do more listening, right, than we do talking. And it's better to just sit still and to be quiet, to truly listen. And before you even speak, because a lot of times we already have an answer formed in our mind, right, what we're going to say, because we're anticipating. And sometimes when you anticipate it, when you assume, well, we know what that does, right? So we don't want to do that. But a lot of times when you go and you repeat back just to make sure that you heard what the person was saying clearly, you can diffuse a lot of conflict, right? And actually bring in conflict resolution just by simply listening to the person and repeating back what you believe, you thought you heard them say, and then for them to tell you, to acknowledge, to say, yes, that is what I said, it's what I meant, you got me. Or no, you're missing the mark. Do you know how much better and how much more confusion and chaos will be put at bay if we were just to take the time to just sit and listen and then to repeat back? I think that's such great respect, is to repeat back something, especially when you're having that heart-to-heart conversation with people, to repeat back what people are saying. So that way they know that you got it and you heard them, that you were truly listening, right? So listening to respond, but not listening to react, because we do that too. A lot of times we just react in life, and we need to be responding in our listening, and all those types of things. What do you guys think about that? I've been seeing that, because you guys see kids on the playground, they'll be nice and da-da-da, and I'm like, but y'all here doing something completely contrary to what you're telling the babies, right?
But here's the thing. Remember that game, or I don't think it's a game or a task they had in high school where you go around a circle and you whisper something in somebody's ears, and then
called the telephone game.
And
to make
then
sure
you write it down to see what you heard, and then when it got to it gets to the last person, it's a whole totally different story that they've picked up.
Right, that's true. And Cece, going back to your thought and what you shared, I agree with you wholeheartedly with regards to making sure that you're listening to, one, understand. Repeating those questions are very important, but I will say this also for the person receiving the information. This is key for you to be able to have that, how can I put this, the moment where you have the aha, right, where you're listening, you're absorbing, but also listen and absorb to understand where the other person is coming from versus defending yourself. Just say, oh, well, I see, but blah, 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 blah. No. You got to stop right there. That's where you're wrong, right? Because that's assuming that the person's thinking like you are, and you're two different people, which means that the way I think is not the way that Nadine thinks, is not the way that Cece thinks, right? And so with that in mind, putting yourself right and try to understand where the other person is coming from, to say, okay, what's the happy medium that we can come up with? If this person feels like the sky is blue, but I say the sky is red, what's the happy medium there? How can we move forward together, right? Or just in general, because I've come across individuals where I've shared my feelings, but because they're so passionate about holding their ground and how they feel, which I respect, you're not taking into account how I'm feeling. I'm taking into account how you're feeling, but if there's only a one-sided street, then how are we going to move forward together if it's always going to be another individual hitting that wall because you're not retaining what I'm trying to share with you?
Right, absolutely. Like I always say to people, and the reason for my quote, life is 10% of what happened to you and 90% how you react. But at the end of the day, like I always say, if you don't want to end up in somebody's book years later, treat people kind.
But bottom line, there you go.
Mic drop.
Make sure to stay on Nadine's good side, or you might end up in one of her books. Pretty much what you just said here.
Nah.
Yes, do not end up in the book. Okay, don't end up in the book. But no, Yessie, I love what you said about listening to understand, because 9 times out of 10, people do not listen to understand. People listen to defend. People listen to prove their point. People listen to, it's so that's so good. That's so good. Like, listening to understand. And I mean, I'm telling you, when you do that, it's so good. And I'm practicing that more myself, right? Because I've been that person listening on the edge of my seat, and then I just can't hold it, and I just blurt it out, and I cut people off all the time. And I'm like, I got to stop doing that. Or just listening, like just to get, just so I can get my point across. You know what I'm saying? It's just all about me. I'm going to prove me, going to defend me, going to all that. And then completely not even listen to what the person was saying. And my husband was telling me something one day, and he was on something completely different, but I was anticipating, trying to read his mind. Like, I know what he's going to say next. And no, I hadn't been smart. And he was like, Sandra, where are you at right now? Like, come back to earth. Okay. Let's regroup. Okay. Cause I'm talking about this and you over here somewhere. He's like, I'm doing that. And I'm like, you're right. You're
in La La Land somewhere, honey.
Yeah. Right. So he's helping to hold me accountable in that. And that's helping me. And I'm trying to be better too at about listening and like shutting my mouth and letting people finish, because sometimes it just comes up. And a lot of times I want to say things because I don't want to forget, because I got some timers. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. So I might need to say it in that moment, right? So I'm trying to get it out, but I'm trying to learn to be like, okay, just try to remember what I'm thinking about. And then a lot of times, if the thought passes, it probably wasn't even that important anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're on to the next. You know what I'm saying? So you ladies help hold me accountable in doing that. If I'm cutting you off and things of that nature, because I get excited, I do, and my ADHD, right? Just be like, hey, reel it in, like zip it. You know what I'm saying? Zip the lips.
Well, no, and that's, oh, go ahead, Nadine.
I was about to say, I'm the same way. I just want to share my thought, before I forget. And then before you know it, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, and it's okay. I mean, things like this are unintentional, right? We're all excited, we're passionate, and that's okay. It's more about the intent where you recognize a person's like rudely interrupting you, then that's a different type of level to me. If it's like unintentional, where it's like, hey, we're all excited, we're talking about the topic, it happens. It's just, it is how it is. But I do salute you for holding yourself accountable to and recognizing that is a opportunity for growth for you as well. And so not a lot of people can say that and do that. That's a hard pill for a lot of people to really take that accountability to say, hey, let me shed some light on this area that I want to improve on within myself and work towards that. So kudos to you, ma'am, for doing that. And that's actually a good challenge that we can pose to our audience and listeners. Find something that you feel there's an opportunity for you to grow, because honestly, every day I wake up, I know there's an opportunity for me to grow on something, right? Just like all of us, because we're not perfect. We all are learning new things each and every day. So that is a challenge that I would love to pose to you all as viewers and listeners. What is an area in your life that you feel you can grow in and enhance in for the better, that you feel like there's a gap, that there's something that just needs to be done a little bit more to get better at it?
But here's another tip on it's off topic. I'm sorry. Great point of view that you put out. Yes, it's to the audience. So make sure you guys listen to that. But I just had to share my thing. This water, lemon and mint with ginger water, it is so refreshing. Start drinking it every day. Catch the glow.
Is this something that you're selling, ma'am, or are you just advertising?
No, this is just water, cucumber, and mint. You put it in the refrigerator and you drink it.
That's so funny. I thought you were going to come out and say, yes, because I grow the lemons in my backyard, the mint in my backyard, and I have a little farmer's market in my backyard.
I need to start having that, though. You know what I mean? Like, these things are expensive.
I mean, come on now. Every time, Nadine, every time I speak to you or Cece, y'all have good things going on. So I'm like, oh, okay, she might just have a little market going on, little vegetables and stuff growing on back there. So
the only thing I have going on right now, other than the acting and stuff, my body butters. And that's a different story. We talk to you guys about that another time. But I just rebranded and, I'm doing that. So I'm enjoying that.
Yes, that is awesome. Now, since we're on the topic about foods and you brought up lemons and all this food, right? I did come across very important information that I just definitely want the audience and listeners to listen closely, but also do your own research as well, so that you can understand how this can impact you. So I was recently watching a documentary and also came across information via TikTok from one called Plum Island. Pretty much this location actually exists, is still operating as a research facility. It's actually currently, as of now, located off Long Island's North Fork in Suffolk County, New York, is 3 miles long, 1 mile wide island, and it houses the Plum Island Animal Disease Center, founded in 1954, which is a facility focused on researching transboundary animal diseases for USDA and Department or DHS. So why this is important, right? So originally in 2008 and 2009, Congress directed that Plum Island be sold to help fund a new high security replacement lab on mainland. And guess where that's going to go? Here in the US, Manhattan, Kansas. That new lab is the National Bio and Agro Defense Facility. Now, why this is important. Currently, they're doing different types of animal testing at this facility. This can be a concern because there's biosecurity and disease risks as a concern. So high-risk research does take place. Plum Island Animal Disease Center studies dangerous livestock diseases such as foot and mouth disease, African swine fever, to name a few. And the concerns have been raised about pathogens escape, especially given that the island's proximity to densely populated areas off of Long Island and Connecticut currently. However, what does that mean? So that means that if it goes into inland, what do you think can happen, right? So historical leaks, there have been past reports of containment breaches, most notably in 1978, which I recently found is called a displacement, when foot and mouth diseases was allegedly detected outside secure lab spaces. And also just the vulnerability to any terrorism and bioterrorism taking place. From an environmental and ecological impact, contaminated soil and groundwater can happen. So there's been decades of lab activity and waste disposal that have been raised as questions about lingering contamination. Protected wildlife habitat. The island is home to endangered bird species, seals, and rare plants. Large-scale redevelopment or poor closure practices could threaten that ecosystem. And then just the overall cleanup challenges. So shutting down a facility after all these years will require a decontamination process to safely repurpose that facility inland. So, according to what I'm seeing here, this research transition to Kansas, a loss of island isolation. So moving the National Bio and Agro Defense Facility to Manhattan, Kansas, means that the research will be conducted in landlocked location, right? That's what they're saying, and prayerfully that's still the case. So there are concerns that this increases the risk of agriculture pathogen spreads if an accidental release or a accidental displacement release occurs. So I've said a mouthful, and again, I am challenging you all a second time to do this research. Look into Plum Island, get information. I want you all to be educated, especially because this is going to come inland, which can affect families. So thoughts from any of you with regards to what I've shared?
That is just crazy. I mean, is this set in stone? They're actually going to do this?
Yes. At the end, it's going to take place by the end of 2026, which is next year. Right. I know. Yeah. So there's a lot we can think about. Prayerfully, everything will work out for the better. But again, I'm sharing this with you all more for awareness because that is what we're here for. We want to positively motivate, educate, enlighten, inspire, and entertain you all. This is part of the education piece that I want to share. This is more light that needs to be shed on Plum Island, and I want you all to do your research. Please do your research. I want you all to be in the know, okay? Because I want you to have your own thoughts about how this could affect you.
I'm definitely going to read the article and look it up and dig deep into looking into that because
and for the citizens, they're in Kansas. They need to be, talking to, their mayors and all the districts and all the people, they need to be chatting this up. Be like, we don't want this to come here. You know what I'm saying? They can protest. The people can go out and vote and speak and say, no, we don't want this here. And we can protest. And we know that protests can work, right? Especially if they're peaceful. It takes time. But if the people raise their voice to say, we don't want this to happen here, right? They're going to have to figure out somewhere else. I don't even know why they really need to move it or whatever the case may be. But if I lived in Kansas, and of course, this can affect the entire US, but I would definitely be like, no, this cannot come here. This facility cannot come here.
Well, if you're seeing that piece on the news or wherever you got the information from, Yessie, it's already done. it's already done basically. So it's unfortunate, but they probably already have their minds made up, you know?
Mhm. It sounds like they do. Yeah. It's from what I'm reading, everything is going to, it's like they've already started the transition process and everything is going to be settled by the end of 2026. So I do agree with you, Nadine. But there's always still an opportunity for this to change, right? It's really on the people, like Cece was saying, to raise their voices, raise awareness, and then be mindful during midterm elections. Who are you electing to represent you and your state? Because that also is key.
Absolutely. I agree. I
Um,
agree. And I know we talked about a lot today, and I know we're about to bring our guest on, but we didn't talk about the piece. And maybe you guys, it's probably in the back of your minds or you didn't, remember, but there was a shooting at Fort Stewart yesterday. Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah, I was watching the news on that today with the gentleman that did the shooting. I know he shot like 5 people. There's no deaths, praise God, but people were injured, and they were trying to figure out because he's an active duty member and how did he bring on a personal handgun onto the base? When I was just in Panama City a few days ago, there were no military people at the gate. It was local police officers letting people in the gate, which, that's a part of our military history, right? To guard the sentry, right? That's a sentry duty. So to guard that. And it's also a part of our heritage, whether it's Marine Corps, Air Force, Marine Navy, Coast Guard, whatever. But when you come in, you're to render certain etiquettes, right? To where you salute, right? You know what I'm saying? That's a part of our heritage. There at the base, the police officers, there was no saluting, there was nothing, because that's a civilian person, right? Just this job is contracted out. And I know police officers and military members, they're trained differently, right? They are trained very differently.
Absolutely.
And so, I don't know if at that base, because I know this has been happening around the globe for, military bases where these at the centuries when you're checking in, a lot of that stuff has been farmed out to just general contractors like the police force and things of that nature. And so that could be a thing. Because I remember, there in Jacksonville, Florida, we had military people there and police officers there as well. And we had dogs at the gate. We had, they could search and seizure at any given time, right? And so for him to be able to bring the gun into the base, I don't think is very hard, truly,
Yes,
to bring in a weapon, and into the base and thing, especially him being an active duty member and stuff like that. They're not really searching our cars and things. But my question is, why did it get to the point where he was shooting up his work center? Like,
so I
what was
read.
going on? Because they said he didn't have any, like, a bad record with anything. He was a pretty, good soldier, and he only had like a DUI. So I just want to know, because they don't have those answers, what drove him to that?
I read an article and it said that he was facing some racism, so that's the reason why he did it. And he sent like a cryptic message to his aunt saying that he's in a better place. So he was quote unquote, we don't know the truth on that, but based on the article, that it stated that he was facing racism, and it's the reason why he did that. But I know we've both been in the military, and if we're not in a high threat con, they're not gonna search our vehicles. I mean, I go to the base all the time over there in Dobbins when I do my book signings, and all I do is show my ID. So you're not a threat if they're not in, and it's just because they're not in a high threat con, that doesn't mean, yeah, you see the signs, no weapons allowed or whatever, unless you're law enforcement. But who's really going to go in their back of their trunk and put away their weapons? Or sometimes people are not thinking. They might have gone on a trip and said, okay, let me hit the base. They're not thinking, okay, let me take my weapon out my car. You know what I mean? So in his situation, yeah, if he was really facing racism, maybe it was premeditated because he wanted to really hurt these people because of what they've done to him. And
Yeah, no, thanks for shedding light on that. I'm sorry to hear that this happened. So, remind me again, what was the location that this happened at?
Fort Stewart, it's in Savannah. It's an army base in Savannah, Georgia.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that. Wow, that is sad for sure. And
Yeah.
so,
And I
Mhm.
believe, mental health component was definitely involved, because when you see when anybody's shooting anybody, there's always something mental, right? Emotional, something, there's a disconnect. There's something that's going on within the individual, and it could have been brewing for years and years. So who knows, right? He only what was going on. And we know as military members, Nadine, firsthand experience of the of one, racism, yes, prejudices, unfairness, bullying tactics, all kinds of things happen on active duty to military members. I mean, sexual assault, rape, you name it, it happens. And a lot of times you are silenced, right? Because there's a real fear there. If you have your career, you have your family that you're taking care of, or even just yourself, if you're a single sailor, but if you go up against your superiors, right, you really risk your entire livelihood, because it doesn't just end with the military. The military is just a time and space, or space and time. But once you get out of the military, right, your life is still going on, but only if, per se, you have a honorable discharge, right? Things are good for you. But if you get a dishonorable, a bad conduct, something that follows you. So now that time and space that you had on active duty for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, whatever, right? Now that follows you throughout. So you have so many things to weigh, right? So like, do I say something? Do I not say something? What do I do? Because not only can this mess up and affect my military career, but this can also mess up and affect my civilian career. You see what I'm saying? And especially if the charges that you bring forth and they're found inadmissible, or whatever, and then now you're blackballed and you're labeled, it can make advancement extremely hard. Like, it's so many factors. And so I don't really know what was going on with this young man, but I'm so glad that no one was killed or unalived. I'm so glad that they did catch him, and I just pray and hope that he gets the help that he needs, and that he will be held,
Absolutely,
according to the laws of UCMJ of the military.
And I've dealt with it. We could go on and on and on. I think we need to have this discussion on this topic, because I've dealt with it. And if I wasn't in the right mind frame, I would have probably hurt some of those people who hurt me. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't have praying friends, praying family, and if I wasn't strong for all the things that I've dealt with, because those things follow you to your next moment, because people calling around trying to find out about you, they see you getting transferred. And trust me, some of these people, they need to be mindful. Like I said, you don't want to be mean to people. If you don't want to be in somebody's book, be nice to them, because some of these people, they think they're not going to don that uniform. They're using their ranks to bully people. And if you guys are listening that are still active duty, y'all need to stop that mess. Y'all need to stop bullying people just because of your rank and your statuses. And that's very serious. You know what I mean? So they need to be mindful, because they didn't just join the military and just put on chief or senior chief or lieutenant. You have to start from somewhere.
Right. No, that's concerning that these types of individuals are even being promoted. So that leads me to question, like, who is promoting you and why, and like why they're putting other people that clearly have no leadership skills in leadership positions. Like, there's so many questions I agree that I have, but I do agree with you, Nadine. We definitely have to open up this conversation again, because that opened up a whole nother can of worms in my brain that I want to ask you both. But because our guest is patiently waiting behind the scenes, we want to bring her on. So we'll definitely pivot over, but just please bring this up again, because this is something that we need to shed some more light on. Yes. All right. So Dr. Cece, please do us the honor to invite our amazing guest, which transitions pretty well because she is a wellness advocate. Is that correct?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And without further ado, let me do her great introduction. I have the honor. So we have a visionary leader, an entrepreneur, and a wellness advocate, right? With over 30 years of experience in leadership, health, and wellness, Warlesea R. Fatta has made it her life's work to empower others, especially women, to reclaim their health, confidence, purpose, and finances. Through holistic coaching, her signature Feel Great protocol, and her soon-to-launch Health Accountability Club, she helps people over 45 transform from the inside out. As the founder of Lisa's Healthy Outlook and SheReigns Academy, where Lisa equips others with the tools to heal their bodies, lead with intention, and grow thriving businesses. A recognized force in leadership, Warlesea was honored as a finalist for the 19th annual Athena Leadership Award and inducted into the Leadership Women's Hall of Fame. Yes, yes. She currently serves as president of the Moore County chapter of Holistic Professionals of Color, HPOC, where she leads a team of health partners and continues to champion inclusive health education and community-based wellness. She is also the founder of Take Flight, a nonprofit organization supporting women, children, and pets escaping abuse. Her mission is deeply personal and powered by faith and resilience and purpose. Without further ado, Miss Warlesea Fatta.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I love that. I was looking for who you were inviting.
Modest.
Welcome to Hoy en Día TV. We are thrilled, super happy to have you on. Wow, very impressive bio. So there's a lot that you do, ma'am. So tell us, in a nutshell, outside of what Dr. Tisi just read to us, who would you say you are? How would you describe yourself?
I'm just a health and wellness coach. I help women over 40 take back their health, their wealth, and also the consistency. That's it. That's all I do.
Beautiful. I do have a list of questions, but I'm going to give the honor to my co-host to start the questions, because leaving it up to me, I'll be hogging all the questions.
Yes. So yes, I will definitely go first, because I want to know, because I'm over 40, honey. Don't tell nobody, okay?
You don't look it. You don't look it.
So my first question is, what's the first step to reclaiming health and confidence after 45, or after 40 rather?
Right, after 40, because of the fact that we go through what we call perimenopause or menopause, you go through this whole new life where when you were younger, and I'm sure you remember when you were 20 years old, you can eat some chips, you can eat whatever. And then if you stop eating the chips, then you're like, okay, you lose weight. But at this point in time in life, it's so much harder to lose the weight. And it's harder to be consistent, because now we have families, we have children, we have jobs, we have husbands or wives or whatever the case may be. So life gets in the way of us trying to be consistent. So that's why I developed this reset circle, so that we can remain consistent and not feel like you're being hollered at, or if you misstep one day, you don't feel so bad about yourself. You just reset every day. Just reset. You just do it all over again. And having a circle of other women that are going through the same thing that you're going through, that helps so much.
Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I need to have my reset every day. That's why I'm drinking this cucumber, lemon, mint water, honey.
Absolutely. And I make it so easy. It's not something hard. You're not counting calories. You're not on the scale every day. It's just something that's simple and easy to do, because life always is going to get in the way.
Absolutely. So tell us more about, you have this, it says Lisa's Healthy Outlook and SheReigns Academy. Tell us more a little bit about that.
Yes, for under Lisa's Healthy Outlook, that's where I have my coaching classes. That's the name of my business. But my coaching classes that I'm starting over, I used to have them a little while ago, but now I am full-fledged 100% doing the coaching classes that will start. And that's under warlesea.com/reset. If you would go there, you'll see all of everything that you would get to start on my classes. But I started oh my goodness, probably about 25 years ago.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. So in continuing on with the coaching classes, what can a person expect when working with you during these coaching classes that you offer?
Well, we're going to do bi-weekly classes where they're Zoom calls. But when you first sign up, I'll do a one-on-one session with you just to find out where you are in your journey. Because a lot of people have done yo-yo diets, or they've listened to and read so many books on how to lose weight or how to do this or how to do that. So we need to ground you and find out where exactly you are in your space that you are in right now. And once we do that, then we will have our bi-weekly calls, which is on Zoom. And then you'll have a class like a classroom setting of other women that are going through pretty much the same thing. And we have a product that we will drink, sort of like what Nadine was talking about. It's so easy, you just drink it. And that's what I've been drinking. And it's just a drink and it's fiber. And that makes it easy for us to quiet the noise, those cravings that says I need some chocolate or I need some candy or I need some cake. It kind of quiets that noise down. So we're working along with that in these classes. Every 2 weeks will be and in one-on-ones. And then I'm also going to be sending text messages every day, just as a reminder to just say, get reset, motivation, because motivation runs out just like deodorant. You have to put it back on again. So you're going to need to be remotivated again. So I keep that going as well, so that you're constantly motivated. You're constantly remembering what it is that you have to do for yourself.
I like that. I've never heard it put that way. Runs out just like deodorant, right? You got to.
You don't put deodorant on one day and then 3 weeks later you don't have to put it on anymore. No, right. Every day you're putting deodorant.
I like that. So you just had a product in your hand. You say you're drinking that. Tell us more about that product that you're drinking and what it can do for us. And yeah, tell me. And how does it taste?
Tastes very good. And I'm going to drink a little drink. But it tastes really good. It's a tea. You can drink it hot. You can drink it cold. It gives you energy. So you see me, I talk with my hands anyway, but it gives you a lot of energy. And what it does though, like I mentioned, it quiets that noise, the noise of wanting to eat or the cravings, because we're on this particular protocol. You want to have a non-eating window. So during that non-eating window, the only thing you're doing is sipping, sipping, sipping. And then right before you eat your biggest meal, say it might be lunch or it may be dinner, whatever it is. I only eat one time a day. So before my biggest meal, then I drink what is called fiber. It's a fiber pack that you pour in about maybe 8 ounces, shake it up, and you drink it. Because I'm sure you all may remember Metamucil or something. So if you leave the fiber in there too long, it'll get really thick. So you shake it up and you drink it. And what that does is so amazing, because what that does is it coats your belly. So all those extra carbs that are floating around that you've eaten, it helps flush that out so that it's not sticking around. Because what your insulin does, it will push it into your blood and in your bloodstream. Then you start getting diagnoses like type 2 diabetes or all these other things that it helps with, PCOS and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. All that stuff is because we have all this sugar floating around our bodies.
Oh, wow. That seems like intermittent fasting that you were saying.
Yes, intermittent fasting. And the thing is about Nadine, about intermittent fasting, a lot of people are like, oh, you know what, I'll just intermittent fast. And that is good. If you just intermittent fast, that's good. But what this does, it's like intermittent fasting on steroids, because you still have the insulin resistance that's hanging around there, even though you're intermittent fasting. Because I have people in my class that say they intermittent fast, but they still can't lose the weight. But that's because they still have that insulin resistance. And when back years ago, when someone would say insulin resistance, I just related it to diabetes. That's all I thought it was. But it's so much more. It is the core of a lot of diseases that we're dealing with today.
Oh, wow. So how do you get rid of insulin resistance?
Insulin resistance, for one, it's your eating habits. And many people will say, oh, well, I have diabetes because my mom has it, my aunt has it, my sister has it, my brother has it. Well, you know why everybody has it? Because you all eat the same. So if everybody's eating the same, that's why you all have it. So in order to get rid of it, you have to change your eating habits. But a lot of people don't have the willpower or the strength to just go cold turkey with certain things that they're eating. So when you do drink this, it will help quiet that noise so that you can stop eating the things that you should not be eating. And then so many thousands of our customers that I've had, right away, within days, 4 or 5 days, they're feeling a difference. They're losing the weight that they need to lose. They're feeling their energy, their brain, they no longer have brain fog. They're just feeling better. They also are looking younger, because when you fast, you give your cells time to rejuvenate themselves. So you really turning back the time of the clock. and you start looking younger and more vibrant, and you have the energy to do more. So many people are looking at folks and they're saying, what are you doing? You look so good. You got so much energy. So this is it's amazing.
Yes, let's turn back these clocks.
Yes. Say that again. I'm sorry. You said detox?
I said, let's turn back these clocks.
Yeah, turn back the hands of the clock, please. I love that.
Yes, that sounds amazing for sure. I agree with Nadine. Let's turn back the hands of time, right?
Yes.
And so, Warlesea, your career spans over 30 years in leadership, health, and wellness. What first inspired you to dedicate your life to helping others, especially women, reclaim their health and confidence? And since your mission is deeply personal, can you share a life experience that helped shape your passion for this type of line of work?
Yes. I am the oldest of 4 girls, or 4 of us siblings. And I've always helped my mom and taken care of them. And we've always had a servant heart. We would help homeless, and my mom started that whole thing with us. But there was something that was going on in our household, and we were abused by our father. And so I always had in my heart to help women, because we always felt trapped. This is the last part of your question. I'm answering that first. But we always felt trapped with nowhere to go. And we would leave and come back, but we were in that abusive situation for 19 years. So I always knew that one day I'm going to help women get out of that abusive situation, or those situations that they're in, that they cannot, or they feel they cannot get out of that. And that's why I started Take Flight. And that's the nonprofit that helps women. And then I say their pets too, because what I found in doing research is that a lot of women will stay in abusive relationships if they have a pet that they've had as like a companion, and they cannot take their pet with them. They stay in the abusive relationship because they don't want to part with their pet. So we take care of them, their children, and their pets, so that they can come out of that abusive situation. And that's why it's so deeply rooted in me personally to do this helping women. But I've always been an advocate for women. I'm a girl's girl. I've always been an advocate for women. I'm probably because I have sisters, and wanting to help women. And this started really just from off the cuff. It wasn't something I said when I was little. When I was little, I always wanted to be a teacher. So, but when I was younger, I never said, I want to be a coach. I want to coach women. I want to help women. But it was something that just resonated with me. And a lot of people were like, man, you need to write a book. You need to do this for a living. And I was just like, I just want to help people. That's it. I didn't really want to do it for a living, but I wanted to help people. I wanted to help women. And when I was younger, I never felt I had a voice. So as I got older, I realized that I have a voice, and so do millions of other women have a voice. And I want to make sure that you know this, and you speak your voice, and you tell people how you feel and express yourself. And we all have voices, and we all need to. And just knowing that I think you said something, Nadine, earlier, of not wanting to be someone else, and knowing that you are unique. You are you. There is nobody else in the world like you. So you don't want to be someone else. You want to be the best you can be. And just that in itself really help women to just say, you know what, I'm going to work on me. I want to work on myself. My challenge is being better than I was last week, better than I was yesterday, better than I was last night. And that's your challenge. Not be me, not be her, but be you, and be the best you can be.
I love that. I really love that. I think it's interesting too, because I've worked in shelters where, like I'm at the safe houses, and, the women, they leave with just what they got in their babies. But the component of adding the pet, because people forget about the pets.
Yes.
Right. And your pets they're your family, right?
They're your family. Yes.
And and people can use that like as a bartering kind of tool to kind of keep people there, so that they don't flee, like, oh, I have the dog or I have the gerbil, someplace. So you're like, I don't want to lose my pet, and it's, with abusers, that's what they do. It's all about control. So they'll dangle that right over the person. So I think that's really awesome that the pets, like you guys, you house them too. So that the whole family, right, can stay together. I think that's very, very important. With the coaching and all the stuff that you do, for the women and all of that kind of stuff, because you are based out of where? Where are you based out of?
I am in, many people don't know Carthage, but I'm based out of Carthage, but Sanford, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, that area of North Carolina.
Okay. Fantastic.
Oh, so you are in North Carolina.
I'm in North Carolina, yes.
You guys are in North Carolina. I'm on the only straggler here.
Where are you, Nadine?
I'm in Georgia, but Cece, no, I'm not moving. Yes, no, I'm not moving.
You're not too far from us.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she isn't far from us, but maybe one day I'm sure Nadine will probably consider moving, but she probably doesn't know that yet. So let me ask you this. How do you approach leading a diverse team of health partners, ensuring everyone's voice and expertise are valued, especially with your role as president of the Moore County chapter of Holistic Professionals of Color?
Yes. Well, just how I want to be treated is how I treat others. I have had really bad leadership. I've had really good leadership. So I take from that, even from the bad leadership, and design my leadership in a way that I really want to help people. When I've gone into different avenues of work, and I'm always going in there as a leader, of course, but when I go in there, I find out from each and every person individually what it is that motivate them. Because people like to say, oh, you know what, let's just throw a pizza party, and that's not really motivating to everybody, because everybody doesn't like pizza, so you find out from each person individually, which is a lot of work, but I love it. But you find out from each person individually what it is that motivates them and what they like and what their dislikes is, and really get to know them. I've always led teams that were exceeding. They were people that got promoted, and, because of how I worked with them. But it's just caring and loving people and knowing that I want to treat this person the way I would want to be treated from someone who's leading me. And so that's been why I've been so successful all of these years as a leader. And I'm proud to say that.
Before I ask my next follow-up question, Nadine or Cece, what questions do you have?
Yes. So how can women balance self-care with, while they're running a business, like the busy moms, the busy entrepreneurs, the single moms?
Yes, that is the main people that I work with. It's just reassuring them that with each day, you just take each day as it is. Scheduling and putting your calendar together and putting all that stuff, that's great, because you do want to have goals and you do want to have on your schedule or on your calendar what it is that you need to do. But do not be so hard on yourself when you haven't met everything that you need to meet that day, or your goals were not accomplished that day. You have tomorrow. You have tomorrow to get it done. And the 3 things that you did not get done today, those are your first 3 things you do the next day. And you continue doing that each day. But what is the most important thing that has to be done that day. Don't try to schedule 7 to 10 different things as the most important thing, because you can't get all of those things done. So schedule 2 or 3 things. Those are your major things to get done. And the other things you can get them done if you can. If not, then guess what? You have tomorrow. You always have tomorrow. But that's what happens with, especially entrepreneurs and mothers, because I work with a lot of women that are single parents and entrepreneurs at the same time. But what I found, the common denominator with everyone is that they're so hard on themselves because they did not make the money today that they thought they were going to make, or they didn't accomplish everything that they thought they was going to accomplish. But you only frustrate yourself that way. But you have to take it easy on yourself and learn to forgive yourself and just move on to the next day and knowing that you can get it done tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think
Then
that's very
have a
important.
balance.
Yeah, that balance for sure.
Balance.
I'm a goal-oriented person. You know, we're probably all overachievers, high achievers, high performers, that kind of thing. So I would
Yes.
have 25 things, on my to-do list. And I'm like, and I would get it done, but it would be a push and a press.
Right.
So now I only just put 2 items on my list. I
There
don't
you
even
go.
just 3. People say, oh, do 3. I'm like, 3 is too much for me right now. I'm just not, because I'm learning how to rest. And so I put the 2 because they're
Yeah.
priorities, right? Everything is not a priority.
No.
And then, and if other stuff pops up throughout my day, you know what I'm saying? I still have to prioritize my first 2 things. Because a lot of times we will put down what we're doing to go help. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, we do. We always do.
We do it all the time. And it gets us behind. I know some people talk about the 2-hour workday, right?
Yes.
Some people talk, there's like books out there about that, where you just take those first 2 hours and you probably get more done in those first 2 hours if you just stay focused on those things versus doing all the other things. I wanted to go back to your product. I believe the name of the product is it Unicity? The site is Unicity, because I wanted to kind of know collectively, like, how much weight, right? Can a person expect to lose using this product? And also, does the product provide any health benefits? It sounds like, with it, how you're saying, like, some of the I would say free radicals, all the stuff that kind of goes into your bloodstream and all that kind of stuff. It seems like this product is a binder. It's kind of like a magnet. So all the bad stuff just kind of, comes to it, sticks to it, and then it kind of excretes it out of your body, the excretion process, right? I don't have to go all into the details, but you get what I'm saying.
Right, we all know.
How much weight could a person, say within a month, expect? I know everybody's different, but just in, the people that you work with, how much weight can a person say you may lose in a month?
Right. Well, I personally lost 20 pounds so far within the last 3 months. And, but just make sure that, this is not a weight loss product. What it does, the reason why the weight comes off and falls off and melts off on some people is because you have visceral fat that's hanging around that it helps get rid of as it's working on the things that's causing your insulin to be high or resistant. But I have a young man that started it. Within 4 days, he lost 11 pounds. We've had people that lose 100 pounds plus, not just 100 pounds, but 100 pounds plus. But the great thing about it, when they do lose the weight, they don't have, which I'm sure you've seen this on somewhere, where people lose lots and lots of weight, like 100 pounds, but then they have that hanging skin. So, right, the skin is hanging. I was watching something where the lady actually was picking up her skin and tucking it into her pants. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, guess what? With this product, there's no hanging skin. Your skin draws in or do what it needs to do at the same time that you're losing the weight, even at such a rapid pace. And people lose it at that rapid pace because it's the insulin resistance. Like you were saying, Cece, it's almost like it's at the core. Insulin resistance is like at the core of a lot of diseases that we have. Just to tell you a few of them, it's obesity, diabetes, PCOS, fatty liver. People that has never drank alcohol before in their lives have fatty livers because of insulin resistance. Migraines, Alzheimer's, high blood pressure, erectile dysfunction, neuropathy, obesity, as I mentioned, diabetes. And type 2 diabetes is the easiest diabetes or disease to get rid of because it is a disease that we bring upon ourselves because of our eating habits. Mm-hmm. So change your eating habits. You can get rid of type 2 diabetes, but it's the biggest killer because it causes so many other problems that kills us. Our heart diseases stems from having diabetes, but you really can get rid of type 2 diabetes very easily by changing your diet. But why this product is so helpful is because of the fact that it helps with bringing all of those things down. It helps with so many different ailments that it helps with, not just turning the food noise off. It actually helps secrete all those other things that you mentioned, Cece. And along with the fiber, we need fiber. Lots of our foods, fiber is being taken out of it. So adding that fiber back into our diets having that fiber helps in drawing everything out of our bodies, that not everything, but the extra carbs and sugars that are just floating around, because when they're floating around, that's what causes diseases. And there's so many foods that we eat, as you were mentioning earlier about foods. There's so many foods you eat that have sugar in it. Crackers have sugar in it. There's so many things where you're like, well, this is not even a sweet food, but it still has sugar in it. And that is the FDA's. That's their motto, is to keep the sugar in everything that we have, so that we'll be sick. As we mentioned with the FDA, Food and Drug Administration.
Yeah, that shouldn't be.
Right, food and drugs. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. They should be separate for sure. Now, pivoting over, I have a question with regards to take flight. So
Yes.
often survivors face not just the physical safety concerns, but also the emotional and especially the financial rebuilding, right? So how does take flight help with those transitions? So let's say, for example, somebody came to you and said, hey, this is what's happening. How would you walk them through that? How does that process work?
Well, that's where SheReigns Academy comes in. So we have counselors, and we have also doctors that comes in, and therapists that will come in and talk to these women, because they are going through something. Depending on how long they've been in a situation, they're going through withdrawals. They want to go back. They feel they have to go back. And some of them do feel like they are not worthy of living a life outside of abuse. So they truly need that help. They need the mental help. And we teach them also a different, like some type of entrepreneur job, or they can complete their courses and get the rest of their credits in college if they didn't finish it. So whatever it is that their aspirations is, we work with them and getting that completed for them. Because, being in an abusive situation, whoever is abusing them tries to break them down and build them up to what they want them to be. So they put aside their dreams, they put aside their aspirations. So we go back and dig those out and help them build that back up again. And that's through the SheReigns Academy part of it, which Cece had mentioned earlier.
Got it. What about, let's say if a male came to you for help and support? I know that may not be your scope of work, but
Right.
how would you help that individual, making sure that they have the right resources? Because, men also deal with abuse, and my co-host Manny dealt with that silently up until, unfortunately, he was unalived. So walk us through how that would work if a male came to seek support.
Right. If a man comes to seek support, we do not turn him away. We would not turn him away. We would give him the same support, the same help that we would give any woman. Our focus, of course, is on women, but we will not turn anyone away. So if a man comes to us and he needs the help, we're going to give him the resources to get the help. So he may not be able to stay in the home with the women, but we will make sure that we connect him with somewhere where he could stay if he needs to get away from that. But guess what? If it's an emergency and he needs to get out of that situation and we don't have anywhere for him, he could stay with us. Like I said, we are not turning anybody away. Anybody that needs the help, as long as we have the room to help them, we will help them. And we'll find the resources. If we don't have the room, we'll find the resources to help them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Nadine or Tsitsi, what other questions do you have for our guest?
Yeah. So how can people help? Oh, I'm sorry. So how can people help your organization? Because I think this is awesome, because you do have a lot of organizations out there say, oh, we're just men, or we're just women, or, women. Then there's ages too, because they're cap the ages for children, or you can't have a boy child. And it's some craziness out there. Right. And I'm sure there's good reasons maybe, for these things, but how can the listeners, the viewers, how can they help your organization? Because I love the fact, like you say, you won't turn them away. You just make a way out of no way, right?
Exactly. We'll make a way. We'll create something anew. We'll create a way. Take Flight USA.org is our website. If you go on that website, we're always willing, of course, to take donations. So it's takeflightusa.org. And we named it USA as well because we're not only taking people that are here in North Carolina, because I'm from Las Vegas as well, and I've spent 16 years living there. And we have a few people that need help there that wouldn't mind flying out. So if we had the funds to fly them out here, we will fly them out from wherever. And we're going to be expanding. So, but for now, we're just here in North Carolina, and we'll fly people out to stay with us. And sometimes it's good because now they're totally out of the state, totally out of that situation, and they can focus on something else. And you mentioned too about growing your own food. We have aeroponic gardens that we grow our own food. So we're trying to be also sustainable on our own and grow our own food and have someone just cook it up. But we're doing that as well. And so we are developing different jobs that they could do that helps bring in funds. So having that, selling to restaurants and things like that is something that's really great.
Nice.
Yes. So that would help. Yeah, so that helps us a lot. The takeflightusa.org is our website, and we would more than happily be accepting any help that we can get.
Beautiful. Nadine, I know you had a question earlier. Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Both you and Cece asked about Take Flight. I was going to ask about Take Flight. I believe within those questions, she already answered my question on that. But however, I was going to say that, you know, with all of us with the visceral fat, the people want to know where can we get that so we can get rid of that visceral fat.
Yes. So Warlesea.com, actually, Warlesea.com. If they're interested in the reset courses that's going to be starting soon, we are having founders. We have only 30 spots left for the founders, which is only $37 a month. And then it's going to go up until I think $50-something a month. But for now, it's $37 a month. And that is Warlesea.com/reset. So Warlesea.com/reset if they are interested in the reset courses that will be starting in September. And it's going to be fun. We got a lot of new things that's coming on board. It's going to be a lot of fun. And but on Warlesea.com, you can go straight there and you can find this wonderful, wonderful product.
That's what I was going to ask. So in order for them to get the product, they'd have to sign up for the course?
No, you don't have to sign up for the course to get the product. If you go on Warlesea.com, just Warlesea.com, not /reset, you will see the Feel Great system. It's called the Feel Great system because it makes you feel great.
Okay.
But it is called the Feel Great system, yes. So that would be, yeah, it's just it's really good. And we have no competition with this product. The only competition, do you know, that we have is like what is it, the Wegovy products where you get the injections, where I'm sure with you ladies doing research, you've heard or seen where people are getting sick from that, and they have what is called the I forget what it's called, Wegovy face or something like that, where you can tell they're sunken in skin. So it's just not good, and it costs so much money to have that. So that's our only competition besides statins and when people get bariatric surgery.
So this thing really works similar to Wegovy?
Yes. It is our natural alternative to that because it helps increase your GLP-1. So when they're doing those injections is to increase their GLP-1. GLP-1 is a hormone that you already have. But because of how we eat, we silence that hormone. So what they do, instead of really changing your diet, what they do is they give you those injections that help increase the GLP-1. And so once that GLP-1 is increased, then it turns off, it lets you know, okay, I'm full, I don't need to eat anymore. But they do it with injections, but you can do it naturally. With this product, it is like a GLP-1. I mean, not like a GLP-1. It does increase your GLP-1, but it's an alternative to the Wegovy. I can't think of the other one. Wegovy and the one that's, I guess, is little bit more. I can't think of the other one, but anyway, Wegovy, Manjaro, and a couple of those other injections that people are taking. Ozempic, that's what it is.
Ozempic, yeah. I was like, it starts with an O.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what it is. People get the Ozempic face. That's what they call it, Ozempic face, where they kind of look sunken in and look like they age a little bit as well.
Wow.
Yeah, but people are getting really, really sick. And this is much less, much cheaper than doing it. It's much safer and cheaper than doing the Ozempic.
Because it's a natural product, correct?
It's all natural, right? It's all natural. Have you heard of this has in it the yerba mate? Have you heard of yerba mate? In some country, I can't remember the country now, but in that country they call it like the magic tea. They absolutely love it, and it's yerba mate. That's what's in this drink, and that helps with so many different things. So many different things, not just weight. I don't want you to think it's a weight loss product, but people are shedding a lot of pounds with it.
That is amazing. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. You're doing so many wonderful and amazing things and just helping the community overall, but you are also human, right? And so in times when you feel burnt out or tired or just like, whew, what is it that keeps you motivated and keep pushing to give yourself that extra pep again and say, hey, I got this. I can do this.
Right. I can do this. I have to, first of all, go get to bed early, and I do a it starts with an meditation. I was going to say I do a motivation, not a motivation, meditation. So I do meditate. I meditate right before going to bed, and I meditate right when I wake up in the morning, and that sandwiches in my day so that I can keep myself going. And it wasn't until I started doing that where I would feel burnout. Now, I'm not saying I don't feel burnout or I don't feel like, I don't feel like doing this today. I still have those days, but I keep going because then I think about what I meditated on and what my plan is to get done that day, and, prayer and all that kind of good stuff. That keeps me going. Without that, I don't know how I would go from one day to the next if I didn't have that. But I have to, and that's my me time. And that's the one thing I do teach in my courses too. You have to have your me time. We as women, we're nurturers, and you ladies are, mega entrepreneurs, and you are running around, you're doing this, you're doing that, but you stop for everybody else, but you don't stop for you.
Facts.
You. So you have to stop for you. And half an hour, that means if you do it a half an hour in the morning, half an hour, that means that's only 1 hour out of the day that you have dedicated to yourself. So take that hour and dedicate it to yourself. Half an hour in the morning, first thing I wake up. Actually, I set my alarm for 6 o'clock in the morning, between 6 and 6:30 or 6 to 6:45. That's what I'm doing. And then right when I'm going to bed at night, right before, half an hour, 45 minutes before laying my head down, I do my meditation. And that's it. I listen to some good, positive music. I recite what it is that my goals are for the next 365 days and where I want to be next year, all that kind of stuff. So I take myself out of whatever situation I'm in, and I put myself there. And I strictly focus on that for that 45 minutes. That's all I focus on. So when I go to sleep, and I'll sleep with a smile on my face, even though everything else could be falling down, going crazy in my life. So which things do go crazy in my life? Believe me, yes, our lives are all the same. We're all going through some crazy things, but it's just how you deal with it is the only thing that keeps you getting up every day.
Yeah. I love that you take the time for yourself. I'm learning how to rest. I don't know how to rest. Yes. I really don't. And I think it's a skill set that people have to learn to be taught, especially when you're women like us, the overachievers, high achievers, even high performance people, individuals always going, wearing many hats. You're the strength, you're the glue, you're everything, right? Yes. And so, oftentimes when you take that time, well, for me, I would feel a little kind of guilty, like, I need to keep pushing. I need to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll rest when I die. You know what I'm saying? People say that. And it's like, well, God didn't create us to do that. He even rested on the seventh day. Okay. And he gave us a day. Okay. So that whole resting when you die, let that go. That's talk of the world. Okay. We definitely have to take that time for ourselves to do that. And we're not supposed to feel guilty. We're really not supposed to feel guilty about it. And so we're feeling guilty. And this is what I'm learning. There's a disconnect. There's an imbalance. And so now I'm trying to get myself back in and saying, it's okay to take this time for myself. It's okay to laze around and do absolutely nothing. Right? I don't want to think about anybody. I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to sit on this couch right now. I'm watching this show. I'm going to close my eyes, whatever. Yeah. And be okay with that. And it's okay. It's already all right. Okay.
Yes.
I know. And it's true that you were talking about balance earlier and you not having time for yourself, because I know that for me, like if I'm working on a project, I will go till 2-3 in the morning and just do it. And I don't sleep. Like I'll just stay up. I'm not understanding why my body is like that. But lately I haven't been going to sleep till like 3-4 in the morning. Like why?
And your body heals itself during the time that you're sleeping. So if you're only sleeping 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you're not giving yourself time to heal. So your body needs to heal. And it's just like plugging in your phone. Your phone is only going to last so long and then it's going to die. And that's the same thing with us. We have to plug in. If you don't plug in for a decent amount of hours, you're not going to be able to carry on. It's just like having, and I'm sure everybody's heard, your cup being full. You cannot pour out of an empty cup. If your cup is not full, you can't pour out. And we are constantly doing that. We're squeezing our cups, getting the last little drips out, trying to get to manage on 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep. That is us squeezing. We're squeezing the bottom of that cup, trying to do it in 3 hours of sleep. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. So you have to carve out time for yourself, and you have to learn how to say no. That little word, that 2-letter word, N-O, it's so hard for us as women because there's always somebody that need us. Always.
It's so funny.
I have 3 grown children. They always need me. So
it is so funny. I should take my own advice because I did my 5th book is I Am Choosing Me. Like basically you're supposed to tell yourself yes first before you tell everybody else yes, but I'm not taking my own advice.
Exactly. It's because it's hard. It's hard. We have such crazy lives and busy life. Like Cece mentioned, is we're overachievers. So you can't overachieve in 8 hours. You got to do it in 24.
And that's the thing with me. I don't want the hours to go away. I just think that, the time is just going to keep going and going and going. And, you don't have to sleep, girl. 3-4 o'clock in the morning, I'm still wide awake. Oh, what? I'm talking to the walls.
Yeah. Right. And that's what I heard you earlier when you were like, you're just going to stay up for that 5 o'clock prayer. You just stay up because you're already going to be up. So now you got to change that. Yeah.
That is amazing. We've had some juicy, interesting conversations, and I definitely would love to have you on for a part 2 because I'm looking at the time like, ooh, we're having some juicy conversations. We are, yes. But I still have so many more questions, and I know Cece and Nadine have many more questions. So we definitely would love to have you on for part 2 whenever you.
I would love it. I love you, ladies.
Yes, likewise. We really appreciate you. So my final question here is if you can leave our listeners with one piece of advice about just reclaiming health, confidence, and purpose, what would that be and why?
It would just be take one day at a time. Because if you try to focus on tomorrow, next week, 3 days from now, you're not getting done what you need to get done today. So focus on one day at a time. Do what you need to do today. And then tomorrow has its own issues, its own problems, its own worries. But today, worry about what you need to do today. Don't worry. I hate to say the word worry, but just focus on what you need to do today and get that done. And then you start off with a clean slate tomorrow. But today, just focus on today.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I love that. So we're going to pivot over to our last minute words. And this is an opportunity for you to just remind people how they can find you, follow you, buy your products, etc. So to get a glimpse of how that looks, I'm going to have Nadine start us off, followed by Cece, followed by you, Miss Warlesea, and then I'll close the show.
Yeah, so basically, as I always say, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react. So treat people kind. If you've been bullied, make sure you find an outlet. Go speak to somebody about it before things turn for the worse. We don't want these things to happen to you. And as far as knowing where to find me, my name, as you see on the screen, Nadine Barton. I'm an author, entrepreneur, actor, and travel agent. You could find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Nadia, NADIAB _1202. And on Facebook here, Nadine Barton, on TikTok, NJB1202. And you can find my books on NadineBarton.com. You can find my luxurious body butters at CAB, C-A-B, mean catch a break. Zenza, ZENZAH. So there you can find all my products and my books on Amazon and on my website. And if you have any questions, send me a message.
Fantastic. And I'm your girl, Sandra the Actions with Inspire for Purpose and also Girls with Gigs. I am a personal and professional. I like to call it a PERS professional. Just put that all together. PERS, whatever. We're going to make it work, right? Development coach. And so I'm here for you, for women, all about speaking engagements, things of that nature. I am a honorably retired military service member, and then also COO and CFO of Extended Hands Worldwide Ministries. You can check me out at girlswithgigs.com or ehwm.org or inspireforpurpose.com. There we go. That high performance overachiever, right? We're out there making it happen. As I always like to say, love and light and inspire for purpose.
Wonderful. My name is Warlesea Fatta. As you can see, I am a health and wellness coach, and I just started the Reset Circle, and you can find that at warlesea.com/reset. If you want to join that circle, it's going to be a wonderful circle to help you reset. I work with women over 40. So if you're ready to reset and truly reset your life, just join us. We also have the Feel Great system, and you can find that at warlesea.com. And that's just without any backslash or anything like that, just warlesea.com. I'm also the CEO of Take Flight. That is takeflightusa.org, where we help women get out of abusive situations, not only the women, but their children and their pets, so that they can live a life of freedom, which is what they were meant to live. And you can help us there. You can visit us there, and you can find out more information. That's me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. Another amazing show. This is why I always enjoy and love Oyandia each and every week. So many thought-provoking. We talk about everything, life, right? Life is life. All the shades, the colors, black, white, gray, purple, orange, pink, blue. I mean, whatever you think of a life, that is what we are here for with Oyandia TV. So thank you all for the viewers and listeners. Thank you for the sponsors. Thank you for Cece and the amazing co-hosts, and for your businesses. Shout out to all that you all are doing. Our amazing guest, Warlesea, thank you. Thank you. Yes. And additional sponsors that we have for Oyandia. We have Divine Beauty and Accessories Collective Wear, and we have Nadine's Travel Oasis. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories. Watch Oyandia TV Thursdays 7:30 p.m.
Sponsored by Collective Wear. Available at www.yessierodriguez.com/shop and myrod-enterprise.com/shop.
Dream, explore, discover with Nadine's Travel Oasis. Your next adventure is just a booking away. From breathtaking beaches to vibrant cityscapes, we handle the details so you can make the memories. Luxury, leisure, or last-minute getaways, we've got you covered. Book today and let Nadine's Travel Oasis take you places.
Yes, and for those who want to be sponsors or be a guest on Hoy en Dia TV, it is scrolling at the bottom of the page. Email hoyendiatv@gmail.com. Subject line, whether you want to be a guest or subject line sponsor. We will have those details for you. Also, for me, for those who want to find me, it's very simple. Go on Google, Safari, Internet Explorer, and just type in Yessie Rodriguez. And pretty much a little bit about me will pull up all my websites, social medias, what have you. Also, I will say starting September 8th, we have the Beginners Acting and Modeling Workshop, so called Powerhouse. So calling all actors, models, especially if you want to get your foot wet and in the door, get a taste of what acting and modeling is. I highly recommend that you go on my website, yessierodriguez.com/powerhouse and register today. I will say the way that I have it set up on the website, there is a buy now, pay later option. So just throwing that out there just in case you're like, financially I can't do it, but you can do it. Because it's all about you taking care of you. You got to put yourself first, just like Miss Warlesea was saying. So if this is something that you really want to do, this is part of the investment piece that I had to do. And now I'm passing the baton to you all because this is part of the investment. You're right. Similar to how you go to college, how you go to school, you get your degree, spend hundreds and thousands of dollars. Pretty much that is an investment where you're working towards your craft to get better at something because you want to take it seriously. So nevertheless, with that in mind, thank you all again. And like I always say, the sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. Thank you all for tuning into another episode of Hoy en Dia TV. Hasta pronto. Next time.
Adios.